what's up, brothers and sisters? What's up? What's up? What's up? This is the Reluctant Nabi back again, back again, back again. All right, hey y'all, this is gonna be a wild one and a doozy, so you need to be paying attention. If I were you, I would run and get some a pen and paper so that you can take some notes on this one right here. All right. So as we get it going, as we get this going, there's a lot to unpack here. Alright? So there is a lot to unpack. If y'all can, if y'all have people on Facebook or whatever that you can share this video with, please do, because I'm in Facebook jail again. I don't know for how long, but I really okay, there we go. I really don't know what's going on Facebook. I don't know what I am blocked out of. So I don't know if I'm blocked out of. Okay, there we go. Alright. So if you can, share it in as many groups as you can on Facebook. I think you can only share up to 10 anyway. At least that's all I can share. Alright. So if you can do that right off the bat. Let me set this up. Alright, so let me get down with the get down real quick. And what I usually do since I can only share it with 10, I make sure it's channels that involve the brothers. Alright. So I'm playing my little music here. In the meantime, there we go. Alright, there we go. I'm playing my little music here. Alright, as we get into this. Now, I don't know how long I was banned. I'm gonna see something real quick. Alright. And it's still hard to tell just what you can and cannot do. So that's why it's really important to look in the description box. To go to the description box and see my email, because I generally send out an email. Okay, got you, Frankie. I generally send out an email. Hold on. I wanted to take this time to walk up and do something because somebody thought I was in a wheelchair. I mean, I got a lot of problems, and I might end up in one. All right, but I'm not in one yet. There we go, got you. Methadone. All right, so while I try to figure this out, all right, and wait for a couple more people to show up. All right, I want y'all to understand the fact that everybody is trying to hide, with the exception of a few educated people. The people in the education sphere, the so-called Black people in the education sphere, has utterly failed us. Utterly failed us. All right? In the worst way, they utterly failed us. Now, I moved away from my mic real quick. Hold on for a second. As I do the thing here. All right, I had to run and get some more equipment. All right. Reason behind that is that today, on this, I'm going to put out a lot of information. But if anyone has something to add to the conversation that's on my messenger, all right, that's in my messenger, all right, please feel free to hit me up on Messenger so that I can add you in on the conversation. All right, so please hit me up on Messenger so I can add you in on the conversation. But as I get into this, I have a lot of articles and a lot of stuff that I'm going to be putting out that I think is going to be important. All right. One of which is going to be the ISIS paper. Now, for some of you that seen the video that I put out earlier today, you've heard from Dr. Francis Wilson. All right. And this is a significant thing if you are going to understand the battle in which the Afro man is engaged in alone. And mind you, I say alone. All right. And I say alone because of this. And Dr. Welsing, she broke it down. She said, if you can get rid of the Afro man, you can get rid of the entire community. All right. So how do you do this? You offer someone the forbidden fruit, and this is the allegory that goes back to the Garden of Eden. And when we talk about the Garden of Eden and all this stuff, it's allegory to the betrayal that generally happens at the cost of vanity and greed. All right? In all of this, right? In all of this, the old school PhDs, the old school doctors, all right, they really broke it down and told us, Afro man, you are under assault spiritually, intellectually, emotionally, and physically. The system wants to get rid of you, and the system has a partner. The system always had a partner. Who was that partner? The very ones that were selling you out to the Triple K group. The very ones that were selling you out to the Triple K group. Such injustice has been done to the Afro man that you can't even talk about it on YouTube anymore or show it in its reality. Things like buck breaking. Yeah, that's right, buck breaking. Buckbreaking. Buck breaking. The things that was done to the Afro man in order to subdue the Afro man with the assistance of the BAW you know who from time to time was so egregious that in this time and period you can't even talk about it on YouTube. It has to be history that the child cannot get in college, cannot get in school. That they would have to get it from public speakers that have not sold out to the system for a pretty penny. To all these guys, these Afro people selling us out that think they've made it, no matter how many millions you get, you're not getting as much as the person that's paying you. But these things do not matter to the greedy, to the people that think their only purpose is to, stack that paper. The paper stacking crew is the most difficult crew to build around or be around if you are going to be a good person and not get into their mentality. Making and having a business used to be about coming up with a product, making a better widget, coming up with a way to sell it, doing a little hustle, developing a name, and have your name represent your product. When you say John Deere tractor, Toyota or Honda car, they had such quality control over the value of their car and the name that went on the car that they made sure that those cars in general weren't going to be a piece of crap. They made John Deere make sure their product is going to work as engineered, if not better, and for a long time. They advertise that. They advertise longevity and toughness because it's in the name. They advertise, you've been with us. We've been around. We're not going anywhere, neither is our piece of equipment because we put quality in it. I recently bought something from Amazon and put it together. It's two things. So Brother Dwight came over. He helped me put one of them together. So the other one came in when he left, right? The other one that came in, it collapsed. It broke off the light shield as it collapsed. First, I am so glad that it did not break the light switch or cause an electrical outage. The company was so bad, erroneous, that they said, we will give you another one, but I wouldn't want another one of them things in my house. I'm not going to spend that a couple of hours putting it together. Something that has demonstrated to be flawed in that it was too heavy for that particle board. The nails were bending. The screws were bending under the weight of that thing. And it fell. Now, I ask you this much. What makes you think I want another product from that group? Oh, let me tell you the name of this group that sent me this piece of garbage. Because even when Amazon tried to, it's called OJ Commerce. OJ Commerce. This is them right there. OJ Commerce. Now, had I had a little child under there because of the weight of the top, all right, they would have been hurt. I'm going to tell you something else that's egregious. So usually you could leave a report on how well this thing is on Amazon, but you couldn't leave anything less than a 4 or 5. Come to find out, they control when you make a review, they control the reviews that you can see. I was like, wow. And you don't find that out till you call Amazon. So Amazon pretty much, they're probably going to give me my money back. Because I told them I don't want the piece of junk. But see, a name does not mean anything. Quality does not mean anything. And people will send you anything to get that dollar. Because the quality does not mean anything to them. Neither does a name. The name don't mean anything to you. This OJ Commerce, they're probably going to change their name after a bunch of bad reviews. All right, so why am I talking about this for a bit? I'm talking about this for a bit because this has everything to do with what's going on with the BAW. Here is the catch. Here is the catch. The BAW can't change her name. She can't get a new her. The damage that she has brought on the community is now backfiring on her specifically. She don't know what to do. This is going to discuss in further detail. You heard from Dr. Westling today. Did I say Westling? Welsing. I don't know why I want to call it. You heard from my video from Dr. Welsing today. All right, I'm going to get the title of it real quick. All right. I will say this. YouTube, somebody at YouTube is doing kind of tricks to shadow ban my videos because what I notice now, at first they used to shift my content from as if I'm in a different country, which is very difficult to do if I'm doing a live here in my home. And now they're switching it to a different time zone. I'm like, well, looky here. All right. So Dr. Francis Quest Wilson have been making comments as to what is going to happen. And the first thing she said is, we're in a war for our survival. And if you don't know it, there are going to be problems. Okay? If you don't know it, if you don't realize it, all right, there are going to be problems. She correctly pointed out that everything that is going on is designed to be an assault on the Afro man. All right? Now, she died in 2016. So allow me to point this out. What happened to the PhDs, the educated doctors? What happened to them? I mean, serious. Where did they go, and how come none of them represent us anymore? Okay? What happened, and how come none of them represent us? All the doctors and PhDs, they do not represent us as a community. They represent keeping the community, in and on the plantation. Because in reality, they serve. In reality, they serve The people that got them their degree. That's the reality of it. They served the people that got them their degree. All right, let me see something. I'm going to see if I can pinpoint. Okay, hold on. I think I found it.
We are in serious trouble. Now with the Black Caucus, they were giving all the statistics. 66% being born in single family households. That's not to demean that household. White supremacy is saying, I'm taking away the conditions for inadequacy, black masculinity. I'm taking away the conditions through which you might produce soldiers to carry on activity on your side of the chessboard. In addition, since I have your situation so strung out and you watch more television than anybody else, I'm going to serve up to you men dressed as women.
All right, y'all get it? Now, if you want to hear more, y'all could go to the video. All you gotta do is type in Dr. Francis Cress, Reluctant Nabi, Dr. Francis Quest Welsing. All right, and that video should pop up. It's a video I put up today, so look for the videos I put up today. All right. For those of you that are really interested and want to see how we used to have it as far as the doctors, how our physicians used to be. All right. For a long time, here in the U.S., these BAW have been parading themselves around as deities. All right? They've been parading themselves around as deities. I want y'all to understand that. These very women have been parading themselves around as deities. All right? And we're about to get into some stuff here. All right? They have taught their whole family to worship this image. No matter where they see it, the whole family was taught to worship this image. If grandmama saw you reading and putting stuff together, she would come and stop you and redirect you to worship this image. Who taught us to worship this image? The BAW, you know who. All right? For a long time, this was the image that they wanted you to see and worship. All right? Let me do something real quick. Let me greet everybody because I'm about to really get into some stuff right here. What's up, Texas Marine? Simplify, brother. Afro Truth. Hey, what's going on? Simplify, USMC bet. Um, let's see. Who else popped up here? Hey, what's up, Daniels? What's up, Daniel Porter? Um, hey, what's up, Antonio Johnson? Backwoods Writer, John J. What's up, Raleigh Benoit? Marcel Gilliam, hey, what's going on? What's going on? Young Buller 24, hey, what's going on? Um, let's see what okay. Let's see. Columbia, Costa Rica, okay. So Raleigh Benoit, he's been doing it. He's been traveling around. Okay. Um, who else popped up in here? What's up, Big Dog? Hey, what's up, Brett Media? What's up, the Luke Chemist? Um, it's not going in and out. It's me moving around at my computer, which I'm speaking through there. All right. So that's that during lives. That's something I can't help is because I'm busy getting a lot of information. So when I dip down, that might happen, but it'll come back. It'll come back into view. All right. So I apologize for that, but for right now, when I do these, that's kind of how it's going to be. Because of how I'm popping in and out and getting information. I have a whole lot of information and I can't set it all up on my ready screen right away simply because it'll slow things down. But anyway, and what I mean by things, I mean my computer, my RAM. All right, so anyway, so Grandmama has taught us to worship this image. All right, this is not an image of people that was even around during that time period. All right, this was not even the image of people who were around during that time period. I want y'all to understand this. Our grandmama was teaching us to worship an image that on his head did not make sense. Not a lick of sense. All right? The other thing is the very people that taught us to worship that image wanted us to worship them as the supreme being, the creator of the universe. I want you to get a gander at that. The creator of the universe. And this is causing problems to the level and depths of depression that they're having. But we'll get into that. And while at the same time, we were taught to give away our accomplishments to people that could not have possibly done the things that we've done. We taught ourselves, they suggested the idea, the state, a certain group of people, all right, suggested. Hey, what's up? They suggested that we throw all logic out the way and give credit for things that we've created to a being that our mamas taught us to worship. While at the same time, she was trying to teach us to worship her as the supreme being. So, and that argument just falls flat on your head. If they are the supreme being, then and all they say all the races came from us. We're the supreme being. Then why do they worship that which they created? All right. Hey, what's up, 911 man? What's up, Captain Marvel? Okay. Why do they want us to worship something they create? Why do they worship what they created and then want us as Afro men who understand that we are the creators of the seed? We create something living. So we decided and we've learned that we should not worship these images. We should not worship this image. Nor should we worship the other image. We shouldn't worship that. We shouldn't worship TV. And definitely, nobody that was around when we were writing the commandments looked like that. All right. So, let's get into something real quick. All right. Let's see. Where are we going to go first? Do we want... All right, let's go straight. Let's go straight for the gut. All right, let's go straight for the gut. Now, as I was reading this, I had ordered the ISIS papers. And Dr. Welsing really, Dr. Francis Cress Welsing, really, in the ISIS paper, broke down just how deep this is. All right. What I am breaking down to y'all is the only way that this system had so much success at eliminating us as Afro men, eliminating our manhood, is that their partner in this horrific crime were our very own mamas. Our mamas taught us to worship those images. When we learned better and we weren't worth anything because she was getting a check for us anyway, she threw us out in the streets in many cases to fend for herself while raising her daughters. I want y'all to understand something. While raising her daughters to be successful entrepreneurs, to go to college, to do all of that. All right. All of this stuff happened pretty much under everybody's nose. But for the Afro boy, this was happening in front of his face. The people of academia understood exactly what was going on. But their job, the modern day doctors like any of them that you see on TV that are melanated, their job is to keep us invested into the system and not the whole system, just the part that want to do the most damage to us. Think about it. It is not our way to forget how nature works. And yet the party that they pick, all right, the party that they pick is the very one they wanted that wanted us destroyed. Okay? The party that they picked is the very one that wanted us destroyed. And that's the plantation they want us to stand on. They in academia gave them all these accolades and stuff like that. Accolades, like alkaline, right? So here we go. The ISIS paper, The Key to Colors, by Dr. Francis Cress Welsing, right? So he goes that this is his favorite book. And I read through this too because he pointed out 7 things, right? But I wanted to discuss a few, right? Now, after I get done with this discussion, all right, after I get done with this discussion, hopefully my gimbal is working. After I get done with this discussion, I want to know if there's anybody here that wouldn't mind calling in. There we go. Okay, no, it's gonna work like this. All right, to see if anybody wouldn't mind calling in. Is that good enough? Need a little more weight. Where's my weight at? Please forgive me. I moved away from the thing, so that's why you didn't hear anything. If anybody wouldn't mind calling in using Messenger. Okay, call in using Messenger. All right. So let me set something else up as y'all read through this. I want y'all to read through this, and then I'm gonna point out some things. All right, I'm gonna read through this, and then I'm gonna point out some things. Right. So as y'all read through this, let me give y'all some music to read to. right, I'm gonna just go with the first part real quick. Hold on. All right, all right. Dr. Francis Cress Welsing is my favorite book. As I the keys to color, the ISIS paper, the keys to color. As I shared with my dearest friend, Lieutenant Etch, it did not matter how many history books I had read. If I didn't have a psychological understanding of the system that destroyed Black history, my education would be incomplete. This book, Civilization or Barbarism, I got a little thing on that too, by Diop, outlines three factors of cultural identity and historical factor, linguistic factor, and psychological factor. So historical consciousness is not enough. Culture identity, consciousness require that we not only know our history, but also have a psychological and sociological awareness. Knowing our history is just one move on the planetary game of chess between African and European peoples. Recognizing what history has done to our psyche and why we still psychologically enslaved, why we are still psychologically enslaved is another. The ISIS paper centers all my learning and creates a firm foundation for me to build historical knowledge. Other words, I would have been engaging in building a house of knowledge on sand. Now, one of the things, like he goes into the seven things. This is in the description box of the other video with Dr. Francis Quest Welsing, right? See, he says the first thing is, what is racism? Racism is not an attitude, prejudicial view, or even a racial hatred. Racism is supremacy and its global power system of mass oppression for Caucasian genetic survival, in which the majority of the world's Caucasian people participate. People of color genetically dominate Caucasian because we have the greatest potential to genetically annihilate these. In other words, and it's like the news report that I put out by Fox, right? So the issue here is this: that Afro people, especially the male, and it has nothing to do with the female, because with the female, you can get rid of those genes within 2 generations. Okay? But the problem here is with the Afro male. All right? And one must outline that issue, that problem. When we talk about the Afro male, we have big D, dominant. Caucasian men have big R, big R. They have big R. Let's see, how did I put this? We have big D. They have big R, big R. Caucasian women have little R, little R, and the BAW have little d, little d. The problem is that the Caucasian male is looking for the survival of the species, not realizing that if we survive the Afro male, then he survives through us. Alright? But here's the problem. The problem that they run into is that on Earth, under the sun, that not having enough melanin is a problem. Alright? So one of the other things that I want to point out. Alright, before I go to something else. And this is very important. According to the 19th century German philosopher, Arthur Schopenhauer, the white color of skin is not natural to man. In other words, we are all man. Caucasian, everybody. We are all men. But the white color of skin is not natural to man. But that by nature, he has a black or brown skin, like our forefathers. So, understand this. This is a Caucasian in Germany that considers Afro people his forefathers, because that's who we are. Like our forefathers, the Hindus, that consequently, a white man has never originally sprung from the womb of by nature. And that thus there is no such thing as a white race in as much as this is this is talked of. But every white man is a faded or bleached one. In other words, everybody is us. We are everybody. We aren't everybody, but everybody is us. Understand? Everybody is us. This is why, and when he said that there is a problem with the Caucasian skin, he means that it has difficulty under the sun, because this is not the natural tone for people that live under the sun. With a beer or wine bottle, I don't know what kind of bottle what he was drinking. All right, so to correct that, you will want to receive the melanin from Big D, Big D. But no, it came about preservation of something that cannot really survive under the sun. It became, instead of let's be being friends with the people, let's make them our adversaries. Let's trick them everywhere they got to. Everywhere they got to. They deceived their way in. They used our friendship and then basically stabbed us in the back. All right. So the guy was just pointing out that this is difficult for them to survive under the sun, and it's because the earth was designed to have melanin to convert solar light into energy, convert sound into energy. All right? Understand this. All right? You need to understand it because they've ignored that. All right? They really ignored that. But worse than that, you can understand where they stand that they would want to, hey, we as a people, they in their minds separated themselves from us. Every place they went to, we welcomed them as friends. And then they did what they did. Think about that. Every place they went to, they were welcomed as friends. And then they immediately stabbed the people in the back. All right? Think about that. All right, so let's get where are we going next? Let's go here. The cultivation or barbarism. All right, and with this dude found that the fact of geography and geology and archaeology exposed that anybody lighter than me in Egypt was a myth at the time that the pyramids were being built. All right, the rewrite of Europeans building the pyramids happened in the 19th century, where a lot of other scholarish, let's not call it scholar, let's say garbage books were written by the same system to take away the history or true history of the world. This is why they are not respected. This is why they're not seen as honest people. This is why they need the law and legal system. Because you can't hold them to their word, because their word means nothing to them. They'll tell you in a minute, well, I didn't write it down, so I didn't mean it. When for us, we were a spoken word people. We had memories like encyclopedias. All right? They wrote in the 19th century that black civilization has failed to contribute to the collective knowledge base of humanity. Right? Except we taught them everything. All right? So they go into this will also be in the description box. They go into all the stuff that were cultivated by us before Caucasians even knew how to speak coherently. Truth as is told, right? All right, and then we look at the other form of betrayal. All right, this other form of betrayal is a serious case of sleeping with the enemy. This will also be in the description box. All right. The BAW requires standards of Afro men, standards we already meet and exceed. But they don't want us, so that's why they raise the bar. I'm saying that. The reason why the standards get so lofty when a Afro woman, when a black woman, a BAW, you know who, run across a good man and she starts raising the bar, she raises the bar because she really don't want that person. So she has to have an excuse to not want him, whereas the bar is set really, really low for everybody else. All right? And when they set the bar so low, they are usually going backwards. All right? They are usually going backwards. When you set the bar really, really low, you tend to go backwards. All right? They want to be worshiped by the good men as a deity, yet they deify the very person that oppresses the good man out of fear that that good man's genes may propagate and turn the world back to its natural hue. All right? Where the real strength is for everybody. Everybody will be absorbed back into the way nature had intended for us to be. All right, and when we say this is a battle, this is also a battle against nature, where we in this world are teaching the children, all right, we are teaching the children that the way you were created in a womb doesn't matter. And I'm going to tell you why they teach that. Because it's also another assault on the male, on the man. You know why? Because the man determines the sex of the child in the womb. You understand? So when they tell a child, when you come out at 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, you can't do anything else on work on earth. You can't get a car in the United States. You can't join the army. You can't smoke. You can't drink. You can't buy half the stuff. You need your mama's permission to do everything else. But the thing that is going to destroy you potentially mentally and physically, and definitely mentally, and this is shown statistically speaking, they allow you to do from 8 to 12, depending on your state. If that's not wickedness, I don't know what is. I can see them doing it at 16, 17, because that's the age of kind of in many states at 17. That's the age of consent for sexual liaisons. So that should be the consent form for everything else, especially that kind of altering operation. Like I said, Dr. Wesley and people like her, before they all start dying, gave the warning. They gave the warnings. All right? And understand this. This is how you know this is an assault just on the Afro man. But it's backfiring. Slaying Evil, he says, I see the swirling camp running up and down the streets cheering in celebration for the fact that tennis champion Serena Williams has recently gotten engaged to co-founder of Reddit. Co-founder Alexis Onion, right? However, I personally can't see where the victory for the where there is a victory for him. For starters, Serena Williams has a much higher net worth than Ohanian. According to Forbes, Forbes article, Williams has a net worth of 150 million. However, according to the Mirror Online, Alexis Ohanian has a net worth of 4.5 million. Common and all everybody else that was Afro have more than him. Huge disparity. That means when they get divorced, he'll get most. When these women saying they're going to level up, she leveled way down. And even though she leveled down, these women were jumping all over the place. They were cheering and everything. And I'm like, yeah, she could do what she wants to do. But if money is the goal, then she leveled down. But wait a minute. If money is not the goal when you're Caucasian, and money is not the goal when you're a thug or Pookie and Ray Ray, or them dudes just coming out of jail, because most of them are who the 59% of BAWs had multiple children from. It's been mostly them to the tune of 61%. If money don't matter to them, then why does money matter when it's a good dude that's trying to create a legacy not only for the family but for the community, that's trying to create numbers so that their progeny can live protected in numbers? All the soldiers are gone because the BAW would prefer to create soldiers for everybody else but the good man. And make no mistake about it, any person that she creates belongs to the man, no matter who the man is. All right? And so here's the thing. So when it comes to every other group of men in the United States, I want y'all to understand this. The only man that has to meet with this high standard is the Afro man. So what happened? The Afro man decided, you know what? We're done. It's time to save ourselves. All right? Now, let's get into all these mental disorders that the BAW, so-called BAW, is starting to go through. In that worship of the man, they wanted the Afro man also to worship them. But here's the thing. When the Afro man said, no, we're just not putting up with your BS anymore, we out. All right? We were free to leave because we didn't have any incentive to stay. You didn't bear any children from us. The children that we did bear from us, you snatched from our grasp so that we couldn't teach that child anything. You gave it to the system, and you had the system extort us for 18 years. So when the 18 years was done, and we survived that, and then we started to stack our paper, we said, you know what? Who would be better for all this legacy I'm about to leave? No, not anybody around that BAW that put me through all that hell. We're going to go to other countries and see if we could hook up with something there. And once we left, we was like, oh my goodness. We are treated with respect and dignity. Go figure. Respect and dignity. to you. Uh-huh. Um, right. Right before says, um, even for the atheists, non-believers, they see the collapse of their empire. I heard BTS say that 50% British don't have sperm, and we know that they are out the alphabet community. All right. And you're right. That's the allegory in the Garden of Eve, that we will always be betrayed by Eve. Now, keep in mind, and I want y'all to understand something. The reason why Eve is written about in Genesis is that she was the one that betrayed the man. But she was not the only wife. And you know this if you keep reading. There was a whole lot more people existing other than Adam, the man, and Hawa, whom we now call Eve. Eve was just the one that Eve was just the one that betrayed the human race and brought evil into the world by sleeping with Azazel in the garden. Remember, she said she saw that it was good to the eyes. She saw that the fruit was good for knowledge, and it was good to the eyes. She was like, yeah, come hit this. All right, and Azazel created Cain. That's why Cain does not appear in Adam's genealogy. When you go into the fourth and fifth and sixth chapters of Genesis, and that's because Cain was the offspring of the fall, which was why he knew how to kill. All right, and there it is, right? And so the food is way better everywhere outside the United States. Let's get that out the way real quick. A lot of countries will not allow our stuff in their countries because they know it's genetically modified. I just wanted to let you know that. All right. So, all right. Let's see. All right. Yep, you're right, Captain Marvel. All right. So, all right. So, reading down all the comments, right? So now we get into this. Now we get into this. So we see the betrayal all over the place. We see that we have been betrayed by, oh, and look up the Wanisi conference. Okay, and you see the betrayal all over the place, right? Now, let's get into something. Let's get into the next stage of the betrayal, because they couldn't do this on their own, right? They couldn't do this on their own. So I have this PDF, of course. You'll have to go into the description box, get my email, and I will email it to you. All right, so I will email you this PDF. This was the Willie Lynch letter on the banks of the James River in the colony of Virginia, 1712. Lynch was a British slave owner in the West Indies. He was invited to the colony of Virginia in 1712 to teach his methods to slave owners there. The term lynching is derived from his last name. Okay, so he goes into his thing. He goes on to say, ancient Rome would envy us if my program is implemented. All right, now understand this. This was the problem. In this paragraph that you see, I just pushed to the top. You are not only losing valuable stock by what they're doing, you are having uprisings. Slaves are running away. Your crops are sometimes left in the fields too long for maximum profit. You suffer occasional fires. Your animals are killed. I'm going to pause right there for a second. I am going to pause there for a second is because a lot of people like to sugarcoat just what us Afro men were doing to that system. Remember, we were Aboriginal mixed with the people who were newly coming from Africa. All right. And because they could not tell us apart, because the people from Africa had the same dark skin as the Aboriginal, the so-called Indians, the true Indians, the first people that were here that looked like me, all right, they started to divide everybody based on the color of their skin. That way they could turn the lighter skinned Indians against the darker skinned Indian, promise them land and all of that. Of course, stab them in the back too. See, everybody that the Caucasians, all the way up to the Iraq War, all the way up to the Mujahideen, all the way up to the people in Afghanistan. United States goes in, makes a bunch of promises, and then as soon as they get what they want out of the deal, they turn their back on everybody. And then people turn on them. And then they convince us that these people were bad all the time, but they can't speak to us because we only watch our news, which we now are seeing is absurdly crooked. But what I want you to understand from this letter is you had a lot of fight in those Afro people. We just wasn't having it like that. This was the problem, and this was why this letter was written. They needed to stop the rebellions, and they knew that they weren't going to be able to stop it with the people that are already there. All right? Ah, that's crooked. Ah, there it is. So they weren't going to be able to do anything about the people, the adults. So what do? When you can't handle the adults? You're going to take those losses and build a different way. You know what your problems are, and that is controlling the slaves. All right? So let me do this, and I can send you the letter. But we're going to get into some language that I'm going to need to skip. Because in this letter, they call us what they. All right? He said, these methods have worked on my oldest plantation in the West Indies. It will work throughout the South. Take the simple list of references and think about them. On top of my list is age, but there is there only because it starts with an A. The second is color or shade. There is intelligence, size, sex, size of plantation, and status on plantation. Attitudes towards owner. Whether the slaves live in the valley or on a hill, east or west, north or south. Have fine hair or coarse hair. That means you did have the Indian long-haired people and you had the Indian afro-haired people. Or tall or short. Now that you have a list of the difference, I shall give you an outline of action. But before that, I shall assure you that distrust is stronger than trust, and envy stronger than adulation, respect, or admiration. I want y'all to hear that again. I shall assure you that distrust is stronger than trust, and envy stronger than adulation, respect, or admiration. The black slave, after receiving this indoctrination, shall carry on and will become self-refueling and self-generation for hundreds of years, maybe thousands. Don't forget, you must pitch the old against the young, and the young against the old. The dark skin versus the light skin, and the light skin versus the dark skin. Use the females versus the males, and the males versus the females. Here's the thing that the females do not like about men that are saving themselves and leaving. We are saying that in this part of it, the females are going to be against us. We understand it. But we're not going to be against them. We're just going to leave them alone because we're not going to play that game. Because you can't win. It's a lose-lose. Everybody loses. But if we leave them alone, we win. You must have Caucasian servants and overseers distrust all blacks. It is necessary that your slaves trust and depend on us. They must love, respect, and trust only us. Gentlemen, these kits are your keys to control. Use them. Have your wives and children use them. Never miss an opportunity. If used intensely for 1 year, the slaves themselves will remain perpetually distrustful of each other. All right, hold on. Let me see. No, the material that they conscious conscious of injustice and wrong, they were every hour perpetuating and knowing that they themselves would do what they would themselves would do. So he's talking about. All right, let's hold it. It was in the interest and business of slaveholders to study human nature. I and many of them attained astonishing proficiency in this direction. They had to deal not with earth, wood, and stone, but with men. And by every regard they had for their own safety and prosperity, they needed to know the material on which they could were to work. Conscious of the injustice and wrong, they were every hour perpetuating and knowing what they themselves would do. All right. So here's the thing: a lot of these guys that had these plantations, they knew they were conscious of the injustice and wrong that they were doing every hour. And they said if they were in that situation, they would do what the slaves was raising to do. All right, these men were on edge. They were constantly looking for the first signs of dreaded retribution. That's what you have going on now. That's why they took out many of the leaders in the 60s, some in the 70s. All right. And so basically, to paraphrase the rest of it, what they decided to do was make a deal with the female because history has taught them you can make a deal with her and she will throw her own under the bus. Not all of them, though. But see, in a system like this, you don't need all of them. So again, first thing they did, grandma and mom got us to worship the image. And while they were worshiping the image, as we got older and older, they started to say, well, give credit for the things that we did to this image, even though there's no possible way they could do it. But then as history goes on, Hollywood started to promote this image, the strong black woman. All right. In the 70s, they gave her all the children. They made sure there wasn't a man in the house that could teach them. They didn't mind her having babies so long as they were by dudes that did not care. And so long as they were by dudes that, well, at the end of the day, were temporary, in and out of jail and all the rest of that stuff. But these females thought that was a good idea at the time, right? And then she trained these children to go to jail and learn that the BAW was God, right? And in all of this, they expected no retribution for this. And now you have the fallout. Now you have the fallout. And they're looking for the sympathy of those that they kicked out of the community. You have these doctors making all these excuses for as to why these BAWs are now in this condition where nothing is working for her. Oh, wait a minute. Allow me to pause real quick. Hey, what's up, Lord Vader? I ain't seen you in a minute. All right. So when we look at this, right? When we look at this, we see a situation. Why Francisco? Ah, ah. Hotel aqui, não, não está muito melhor. Orlando. All right, so hey y'all, um, Francisco and Selmina are here in the United States. So a while back, I got a visa for Selena, and then she got one for Francisco, and they came over here. That was at the time I got one for Mimi too, but she did what she did, so that's why we ain't together. But anyway, all right. So the reason why they're depressed is they're doing everything by themselves. All right. They're doing everything by themselves, but they picked only themselves to do it. They said in their hearts they don't need no man. They said in their hearts that they are God. In their hearts, these women said that they are God. All right. I don't. I look. I can't tell you how it's going to come, but I know that the Most High is going to have an answer for that. Remember, you don't take His glory. They went around saying they're Superwoman, they're Wonder Woman. They don't need no man. They can do everything. They even went as far as to get a Happy Father Day's mom card. That's how much disdain and disrespect that they had for the good Afro man. But now that's coming to bite them in the behind. All right. Then next up, after doing all of that, they had unrealistic standards if you're a good man, but if you're a Pookie Ray Ray or any other thing to include a woman, there were no standards. All right. And so now you have this. And the sad part of all this is the so-called psychologists and stuff, they're not being honest with these women. The fix is easy. If they're young enough, they need to repent and get back to the sense of morality where they don't make an enemy out the very men that would have been willing to take care of them and raise a family and create protection, create a community that could protect itself against all wickedness. But that's hard to do when the most wicked thing in the community is the BAW, you know who. Because even when you look at it, the Triple S crew spend most of their time following her. So there is a fix, but they don't want to take it. Because how dare we ask them to repent? Well, here's the thing, Texas Lorraine. When they got exactly what they wanted, all right, it's like the women messing with the wicked stuff, and they keep telling you in movies, they're telling you straight up, when you ask for things in that thing, be careful what you wish for because you might get it, and it might not turn out as to what you want because you're dealing with forces you're not aware of. And you know what they say about karma, right? When you reject good men and choose wickedness over them, then what do you think is going to be following you around? Okay? They got exactly what they want. Now I'm going to This last trip I stopped because it would if one, she's never going to meet me on my standards. Period. Two, I have to find somebody that's going to travel with me. She wanted me to stay there, stay with her where she's at, stay there, stay stagnant. Forget everything that I do as a man. No, I'm not giving up my manhood for you. All right. And then there was somebody else that liked me and stuff, but that was a problem. So I said, forget all of y'all. All right, and it taught me stuff that even with the religion, even when you make the woman as happy as she can be, if she's tied to something else, there's nothing else you can do. It's saying 25% are using medication for mental illness, and maybe none will diagnose with the okay. And so let me say this. All right. And then I started looking, and I was like, I started to notice a singularity, a thread. And that thread was this: that no matter how happy you try to make these women, it all comes down to this. They like the bad boys because the bad boy can give them their product to make them feel good on a temporary basis. Because all their choices got them in a bad situation, but instead of like we did, examining yourself, be like, you know what? I need to change some things. They said, no, I want to keep doing the same thing, but I want a better result. There's a definition for that. All right. But then what's sadder yet is these women are getting false support that wants to keep them in this misery. And when I say false support, I'm saying like from these doctors, that these psychologists and all the rest of this, these new doctors that's up, they're not being honest with them and telling them that you need to change your behavior. You need to pick righteously. And some of the times you got to not be the man. You can't be the man and the woman. And if you're going to be the woman and try to be the man, then this is the pressure that it puts on your mentality, your spirituality, and your body as a woman. They thought there was so much glory in taking the male role. Understand this. They thought that there was so much glory in taking the male role from the man. You're right. I'm going to tell you, the bad boy doesn't judge because he won't, because he can't. Right? The other thing is he don't care. The only people that judge wrong, right, um, good, wickedness, the only people that do that is people that care about the overall state of the community. Or they care about an agenda like the court system. No, 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 no. I mean, it's not. It is. Let me put it to you this way. That's the singularity in. That's the singular thread. All right. Even when these guys have employment and you have better employment, it doesn't matter. Because if you don't do what she wants, if you don't give her what she wants, if you look at this, all right, name me a woman that y'all know. Name me a BAW that y'all know that do not smoke trees. Name me a BAW that you know that do not have a tattoo. All right, think about that. A BAW that you know that do not have a tattoo, because the scriptures don't want us with tattoos. and do not blow trees. I'll wait. And we're not even talking about the ones that don't have children. Think about that. In scripture, these are three things that we're not supposed to. These are three things that if the woman has these three things, we shouldn't pick as a wife. All right, because your woman should be sober minded. All right, drink and cigarettes, you don't want that at all because she'll ruin the seed in her womb. All right, so how many do you see without tattoos and without smoking anything? All right, and we're not even getting to the hair because the hair they could take that off if they were really serious. But I made a video saying that they're not serious because that's the one thing they're not going to do. All right. Yep. There you go. All right. And many of them have babies. Remember the four women that made the baby with Tavon White? He had 7 children from 4 prison bars, and he doing life. He ain't ever getting out. How do you have 7 children from a dude that ain't getting out of jail? Prison. He in prison. How you do it? But they did it. And they're not they just made the big news because he was a big time dealer. And not only that, they risked their job. They're now in jail too because they was helping him do his nefarious stuff. Oh, that's that. I'm trying to figure out how to turn my thing on. Oh, up at the top. Lord have mercy. I want y'all to think about that for a second. All right? I want y'all to think about that for a second. The betrayal is really deep. All right, the betrayal is really deep. How do I do this? I'm trying to figure some stuff out, y'all. All right, so the betrayal is really deep, and so how do we deal with it? Because it is what it is. So what do? You got to go elsewhere. All right? You got to go elsewhere. Because remember, they wanted a battle between us. And the brother was like, you know what? No, that's all right. We don't got all that time to spend resources and stuff battling somebody in a losing situation. Because here's the thing. Why battle? Why have a battle that is going to end up in a loss? And that's basically it. The women always say, you didn't fight hard enough when they take you behind the court for your child. All right. And they know you're going to lose. They know that pretty much you always lose. That's why they take you. They take you somewhere where they figure they have an advantage. All right. But you can't find what's decent for us if you're going to be a righteous man. I'm not saying that people, and so that's why there's so many women left for the dudes that do all this stuff. So I ain't gonna be hating, right? But in the meantime, while she's picking everybody over the good man, she is now upset that the good men are leaving and she's running out of options. Because when it gets down to it, all these options that she thought she had was just temporary at best. All these options were temporary at best. When she was hoping and thinking that after she's done with all this and experimentation, that she can run back to the community. Because once one of them guys been with her and created children, and that goes wrong, they're not going to have a second one that's going to go right behind them. So their only hope is to come and try to find a decent dude that want them. But they got one other issue. They got one other issue. Those temporary options are just temporary. The wall never loses. All right. And if you're with somebody as you hit the wall, then you've done what you needed to do. So when you hit the wall, you will still have company in your latter days. But these women threw that away. All right? They threw it away. And at the end of the day, they're out of options as they hit the wall. And while they're hitting the wall in their 35s, maybe 40s, the Afro men are being sought after every other place. Not all the Afro men, just the ones that can get passport, just the ones that have a little change, just the ones that's making something out of their life. Right? They're going overseas, they're meeting with somebody, and they're going often because they have it. And see, here's the thing: it's different when we go, and then when the BAW go. Because the BAW will spend their money just to fill it up. Yeah, I went over there and I got done in by a Spanish person. I went to Italy and I had me an Italian. But see, that's not the same. And so when you get back, we're saying so. Not only did they only want you temporarily, and they just used you for what you gave, and you paid to do it, right? But when you get back here, so what do we want with you? Now you ready? You went and did all that, and now you ready for a husband at 35 with 3 children. Two of them you got on a vacation. No, no, thank you. All right. So things are not looking well. Things are not looking up, right? But when you get down to it, one of the main reasons that they're having a hard time is they claim goddesses. They thought because they had a body that that should be enough. They thought that because they had a panana, that should be enough, as if the very word female don't mean punana. All right? They exalted themselves above the Most High, rejected the men of the Most High, and took on every little trinket and every other thing coming from every other person that either wanted to worship them instead of the Most High or use them. But in their worshipers, worshipers are only worshiping them to get what they want. See, that's the whole crazy thing right there. The worshipers only want the one thing. Hold on for a second. I'll be right back. All right. So this is where they're at, right? And this is the state that they're in. And they want to blame everybody else for a calamity in which they caused and brought upon themselves. And the people in academia, they're not being honest with these women. And they're not going to be honest with these women. There's no money in it. Here's the sad part. So long as they stay in their condition, the more money people will now make off of them. And you best believe that I don't believe there's an interest in helping them because people are seeing cha-ching, cha-ching, the bank. All right? And even as the ones in Brazil start wilding out, they're going to start losing. Period. So the question is, what are they going to do as more and more righteous men leave and leave them alone? You got some brothers that's about to travel to Brazil for the very first time. All right? That's right, Young Boy 24. The temporary options have got them gassed up. These triple S crew people got them gassed up. The media got them gassed up. The same media that's turning around making excuses are telling them, you grow, girl, black girls rock. They got everything that they asked for. And now they're trying to twist it and say that the BAW is the most disrespected, this, that. No, they're not. Well, they are now, but that's because of their behavior. Anytime you betray your children and community, you can't be respected for that. People are not going to respect you for that. They might fear you because of who you're working for. But understand this: fear and respect are two different things, and it is it's a very sticky thing to confuse the two. Just because somebody fears you, that don't mean they respect you. Remember, and when I read you part of the Willie Lynch letter, all right, I was talking to a brother, he might be in here, and I was telling him, I said, brother, you got to be consistent when you deal with people on your job. All right, start right now. He was telling me about something he was thinking about doing, and I said, don't do that. Be consistent and be honest. Now, he wasn't about to cheat his job or nothing, but I told him, be consistent and be honest all the time. Let your yay be yay, your nay be nay. All right, you will establish something there that is more important than people's feelings. So that when you do come up, when they bring somebody up to try to destroy you, the honor that you have will keep you up. While I was in the Army, there was a sergeant major that did not want me to retire. He did not want me promoted. Every avenue that I used to try to get promoted, he blocked. Even though I was a worthy soldier, even though I was at the top in my unit, he didn't care. My skin color had everything to do with it. What they would do in the lab, for a while I was at NCO, I see that's the NCO in charge of the lab. But what they would do is they would send either a black woman who really didn't know how to operate a rifle, never been to a board, didn't know how to do any military stuff, and didn't know how to run the lab. They would put her, even though I outranked her, I had my degree, I had the I had the certification to run the lab. She had none. It didn't matter. Did they put a white woman? Same thing. It didn't matter. All right. I got the message. An incident happened where a Hispanic woman, that, yeah, I mean, she's white, but I think she was on the Mexican side because we had one, not to be confused with the Puerto Rican woman. She was cool as a fan. She had my back. The Puerto Rican woman had my back. She just told the truth. Well, all the soldiers told the truth, right? That's how I made it out of that situation alive. Well, not alive, but with that's how I was able to retire. All right, because they really couldn't set me up because we have stuff called ICE complaints, right? But if you're doing good and people send up a bunch of ICE complaints saying that, no, you're the best thing since bread, all right, that makes the lab look good. The lab was the biggest department with the most people in the hospital. All right. I made employee of the month out of the soldiers and civilians. What happened was a lot of the patients in the lab would physically, because of how I handled the children when they were being stuck, How I was running the bleeding room, as you say, where you are confronted with patients all the time, and how I could troubleshoot problems and stuff. A lot of people were physically going to the main lab who knew the officers in it and was putting in a good word such that one of these months I won that thing, right? Do you know they did not ever give me my award for it? You know why they didn't give me my award? Because the award is worth promotion points. They didn't want me promoted. See, these are sneaky ways that they try to do things. But here's the thing, my mentality was I wasn't trying to get promoted. I was trying to retire. I was trying to get that money the rest of my life. Make sure, see, that was my goal. I just never told them, no, I'm trying to retire, because they would have probably figured that out, try to prolong that. So in all of this, I had help from the doctors upstairs. I had help from a lot of people in the departments when I was dealing with the lab. Straight up racist. Straight up racist. And we're talking about a sergeant major that was the sergeant major of the lab, the hospital, and the battalion. No, not the hospital, but the lab and the battalion. Right? So he could block me on any avenue I took to get out of the lab. So I tried to get out of the lab to go recruiting, even though I was more qualified. The girl that they sent to be over me, even though she wasn't that, all right, she saw my idea. She asked me to help her to put together a packet. And what they did was mine was put together first, but they refused mine, the sergeant major, and then he sent hers through. The white girl. In other words, every avenue that I took that was just, they were unjust. But see, that wasn't my goal. My goal was to retire. Period. Because I saw this as such a wicked department and such that I dealt with real racism to the point where a woman threatened to stab me with a gift that I gave her. And I passed some of those out. You know, those pens with the knives in them? I passed them out in almost every hospital I went to where people did a good job. And I said, look, let me give you something. She threatened to stab me with it. I found out about it in a meeting with the OIC from another NCOIC. So I was the assistant NCOIC, right? And the NCOIC was, the OIC was like, there's a problem with two of the best workers. And I give this woman that. She and I were the best in there. Only I ran the front and she had a problem with somebody being a black sergeant over her. Over that department. Over the lab. Not only did she have it, but there was another civilian that worked there. All right. I wrote up IG complaints about them. I wrote up all the paper. I did all the paperwork that you could do. All right. And so the hospital works in a weird way. You have a hospital commander and you have a company commander. So when you can't do things through the hospital commander, you can go to the company commander. The company commander can make things happen. Right? Because he could use the officer chain of command. All right. And so that's how I got moved out of that situation. Well, that ain't really how I got moved out of the situation. I said something I meant that that caused people to call like 6 police officers that was waiting at the door to take me in. But I was in the ombudsman's office. Just talking it down. Because they decided to attack my family, the girls that I was raising. They decided that we're going to take it out on your family. Also. And I was like, that was the last straw. This was the laboratory at Fort Sam Houston. I don't know who's running it now, but back when I was in, it was a racist piece of crap. I'm going to say this. It was a racist piece of crap. However, because my word was my word, my work ethic was my work ethic, as many enemies that I had, I also had allies. One being the company commander, one being the hospital, the doctors that I would work with. There was a time when we weren't going to get a budget. The whole hospital weren't going to get a budget. And people needed stuff. And seeing that this was going to happen, all right, when I ordered stuff for the lab, I ordered things that I knew that our whole clinic was going to need. That means all the clinic places, x-ray, the doctors upstairs, primarily the doctors upstairs. All right. And so what I started doing was, at one point we had excess paper. The most important thing in all the clinics is paper, is because that's what your results are printed out of. We can't start crap in the lab until we have the startup and the controls printed on paper and filed. Because anything you do and the controls are not proven to be, if it's not on paper, it didn't happen. That's the lab thing. Where are the controls at? It's not on paper. Oh, well, it didn't happen. So every result has to not be validated. You never want to have that. So I went and got like pallets and reams of paper, and I had a couple of soldiers, and we stored them, right? And as this stuff took place, I gave people what they need, but when we needed stuff, we didn't have to go through anything. And some of the times, things that were critical for us was like ink, the cartridges, and paper. All right. And so when we needed cartridges for the machines, I had people that could tell me where to go. In other words, I was able to run that place and get stuff done old school, where ordering out of a book just wasn't going to get it. So when it was time for me to leave these people alone that was causing me so much grief, when it was time for me to leave them alone, I left them alone. But I had everything being set up under the radar with the help of many. All right. So for every adversary, I had an ally. And I had allies in high places. All right. And things got really, really bad. Things got really bad. To finally, one day, they decided to do an attack on my family. And I said some words that elicited a police response. Said I was going to do something with my bare hands. Because for me, I signed the paper, signed the dotted line. But when you start going after a man's family, and I'm like, how low are you to do that? This laboratory was really, really low. So low that when the woman threatened to stab me, they tried to make me the person that was the bad guy. Your sergeant, the one that was getting you your most kudos, the ones that gave you the least problems as far as the duty was concerned, did all that extra other duty. I was signed off to work the range, the firing range, bus driver, just a whole lot of stuff, right? But it didn't matter. I was the wrong color. We know that's what it was. All right. What I'm saying here is your integrity goes a long way. I never had a BAW that had my back. As a matter of fact, all the people that's ever had my back were non-BAWs. Whether they, yeah, just keep it real when it come down to that. It was a BAW that called the police officers to come deal with me. I want y'all to understand this. It was a BAW that called the police officers to come deal with me when I made the comment. I thought about what I said though, but I walked down to the ombudsman office. I said, you know what? I'm gonna handle this with paperwork. There was a knock on the ombudsman's door. A brother. He opened it. He's like, y'all here, and it was all the officers that came to pick me up when they saw it was me. They're like, oh, we know him. And they asked me, hey, you all right? And I said, yeah. Uh, me and ombudsman, who was a brother, we're talking out some issues. He said, you sure you're all right? I said, yeah. He said, all right, we out there. All right. They came ready to pick somebody up, but they saw it was me. Because I worked with them, not as far as police work, but they knew me. I worked with them. I was always kind to them. I always did my job. They knew me. They knew my integrity. So me saying that I was all right was enough for them. All right. That day, they moved me away from them people to a unit that was the best thing that ever happened to me. I am where I am now because of going to that unit. The Warrior Transition Unit. That was the best thing that ever happened to me. All right. See, y'all don't understand the cancer, why I don't look at it as the curse that y'all do. Right? I look at it as part of nature. All right. Because there are worse things that were lined up for me than the cancer. I've never had a BAW support me in any of the good that I tried to do on a real basis. Never. All right. When I thought I was getting support from them, it wasn't support. All right. When I thought I was getting support from them, it wasn't support. Hold on a second. All right. With Francisco, I got to talk to him. All right. So Francisco, his English is not very, very good yet. His English is not very, very good yet. All right. Yeah, I don't even know. who that is. All right. So this is the state we're in, right? One thing, two things, right? You keep up your integrity. All right. These people always knew that I was a spiritual person, but they also knew I didn't play. When I said what I said, I meant it. I meant it when I said it. But I had a moment to think about what I was saying. And I was like, well, there's a better way to deal with the situation. And everybody understood that. I didn't lie to nobody. I didn't say I didn't say it. I didn't say I didn't mean it. I just didn't mean to. I said when I pulled down, I was like, that's how I felt, but I don't feel like doing that. I'm gonna handle it this way with the ombudsman. The ombudsman had my back. There was maybe six officers, three Afro brothers, and three Latino brothers. I knew them all. All right. Because of this flu, I don't know what this cancer's doing. Don't really care. I never did care, but I'm still doing my thing. You know what I mean? I'm still being me. I'm still doing stuff. I'm not letting it get to me. I'm not going to let it stop me. All right. So that's basically it. I think going to Brazil and my eating habits over there is having a positive effect on it. It's just there. I don't even know what to say, bruh. I don't even know what to say. All right. But back to what the main point is that a lot of these females are going through this, right? A lot of these females are going through this because at no point did they have our back. At any point, had I had any woman that I dealt with stick with me, she would be doing well, and she would be doing the same stuff that I'm doing now. Had I had anybody that I wanted as a wife that stuck with me and say, you need to go down and raise hell at the lab because civilians get stuff done, they would have done well. But at the end of the day, after all this happened, and I went through all of that, while these women are pretending to live their best life, I look and I look at all the stuff that's happening to men that have their hand on it. But then I look at all the stuff that's happening to them, and it's clear to me that things have backfired in such a worse way. And it backfired when the BAW, no longer have allies. They are only they only have allies that they have convinced themselves of as being allies. Let me tell you what I mean. All these psychologists and doctors and stuff like that is coming out and saying, well, you got to understand the woman has been the most this, that, and the other. That's bull, and those are all lies. All right? Everybody sees their lies when the woman is promoted over the man. When the woman want black girls rock, she get black girls rock. All right? When she can not support the man, but if somebody not support her, then it's a problem. All right? Everybody can see that she was the one that was getting all the government handouts. All right? So this is the issue here. Whereas the good Afro man They never had their back. We're like, okay, that's life. We just got to roll with it. So we're going to go somewhere else and roll with it. But them, the BAWs do not have that option. And it's not the same as when men go somewhere. When they go somewhere, they're going somewhere as men, but being treated by like, well, you know what they're treated like. They're going to Spain and stuff. Oh, this guy was nice, and I took him out to dinner and stuff. All this stuff that men are supposed to do for them, apparently, they're doing for other men, and these men are using them up. And their hope of having this man from Spain, this man from Italy, sinks as deep as his family he got back home after using her up. But she come back, it's a big secret. Like, remember, the Dubai trips were secrets until the Africans exposed them. So we see it. A Charlie Brown boxing media. It's not motivation, all right, and it's not a curse seed either. But it's nature that turned out to be a blessing for me in a weird way. All right, because I'm ready to meet the maker. And if I know that's what's going to take me out, I'm good with it because I'm ready to meet the maker. Right? It was a blessing because you know how you evaluate your life and you're like, oh, I'm going to die. And who did I screw over my whole life? I don't have those issues. I still have day-to-day issues of some of the times the morality of things, the experience of things and stuff like that. But I have where I'm going to be glad to meet my maker. All right. So, and it's been a blessing in a bunch of other ways too. It gave me that I don't give a F attitude. All right, I'm gonna be out of here anyway. And and that was better for my family. All right, that let my family know, okay, I'm on my way out. I just don't know when. All right, so um, I'm gonna leave y'all something alone, and not alone. I'm just gonna leave y'all. So I'm gonna leave y'all alone. That's the only thing I'm gonna leave you is alone. All right. When I go, I don't care about anything. Told my God sister, put me in the pine box and in the dirt. Make the army do it. They owe me anyway. Make them pay for it. Because they will. Right? And so, I mean, and this was my attitude. And people just don't like it, but I just don't really care. Because I can't wait to meet my maker. They the ones with problems like trying to leave this world. They the ones that got to get stuff right. You understand? Now, so long as I'm here, I'm gonna still do what I was doing before I found out that this stuff was going on. So it has not slowed me down, and still same attitude, same everything else. I thought about what I would say on my deathbed though, because really I am one of them people that always like to make a joke out of everything, and I decided I'm gonna say some crazy stuff as I'm going out. I've been thinking a lot like that. Man, what am I going to say? What are my last words going to be? All right. And so that's basically it. Here's the thing. Integrity goes a long way. Just being honest with people go a long way. Even though or YouTube is shadow blocking a lot of my videos, because I see it after 2 hours, then everything just kind of go down. So I don't care, right? I'm not going to change the way I educate my people. And I realize that everybody with brown skin tone is not my people. But those that think to want to do right, do better, and have the truth, those are my people. That's what the Most High told me my people were. So I don't cave to females. I don't do, and I do stuff even on my time when it comes to them, right? Because all this stuff has helped me deal with them. I see this punishment coming and I'm stepping out of the way. I'm not helping you. I'm not helping your happiness. You had it. All right? But instead of doing what the Most High said, instead of honoring the good men, you've given honor to the wicked and made good dishonorable amongst the children. All right? That's not my problem. You married a Caucasian man, I don't care. Not my problem. Don't stop me from who I decide to get with, though. That's when it becomes my problem. Then I'll point out the hypocrisy and all of that. All right? And so basically, I don't care what they do. But what I do know is all that they have sought to do is backfiring on them in the worst way. Is backfiring on them. This is what's happening. And there is no one there to help them because the people that they are going to honestly don't want to help them is because their whole intent is to spread the agenda for the system, which hurts them even deeper. And as the brothers wake up to the truth and iron sharpened iron, discuss these things one from another. Y'all send me stuff to look at. I do these live videos that have y'all look at stuff. We express these ideas. We are growing and growing and growing mentally and spiritually. And we are no longer confined to a religious organization or doctrine. We are getting back to the men that the Most High wanted us to be. Oh, we're not looking at sex as a bad thing. We're not looking at that monogamous stuff either. We do not de-police. That's date police for those of y'all that don't get it. You know what I mean? All right? We do not de-police. All right? Because we don't care. We know that each man to his own house. That's in Numbers. That's how the Most High did things. Every man to his own house. Y'all saw the portion of the Willie Lynch letters. I'll send the whole thing to those that want it in PDF form. All right? You got to look in the email, get my email and request it. Don't ask me my email when it's in the description box. You can click on it in the description box, and I think it take you straight there. I could be wrong. All right, but we got to stop being lazy. That's the other thing that we are. We want somebody that's doing a lot of work to do more work for us because we don't want to do any other work. All right, we got to cut that out, folks. Okay, I believe it's in Numbers. Hold on. While I look. right, I'm looking at Numbers. Numbers 2 and 2. I'm gonna show y'all something. I'm gonna show y'all. I am going to show you. Lord, my English is not dope. Oh, I'm doing the wrong thing. All right, hold on. I want to show you something real quick. I want y'all to look up in Numbers. All right, I want y'all to look up in Numbers real quick. Okay, and we're going to look in Portuguese. We're going to look. Okay, and Yahweh spoke to Moshe and to Aaron, saying, "The children of Israel are to camp, each one by his own banner, beside the sign of his father's house. Let them camp around the tent of appointment at a distance." All right, that's each man to his own house, to his father's house. All right, that's how they did things. The father's house was the most significant. All right, the Most High don't 44:17. Father's house, head of the father's house. All right, the Most High deals with the father's house. Numbers 1 and 4. All right. Take a census of all the congregation of the children of Israel by their clans, by their father's house, according to the number of the names, every male, head by head, from 20 years old and above. Everyone going out to the army in Israel. Number them by the divisions. You and Aaron and a man from every tribe should be with you. Each one the head of his father's house. Y'all see that? Y'all need to get this program, eSwords. All right. Let's see, Numbers. The father's house. So at no point do you have a mother's house. That's my point. Y'all can probably see this that's coming up now. All right, so that's what I want y'all to see. This is why there's such an attack on fathers in the United States. because our order and who we are in the Most High is very, very significant. All right. And these women rejected that. All right. They claimed that they were they were gods, and now the so-called deities are suffering mental anguish, physical anguish, spiritual anguish. It was a wave, so much so that they have no avenue of escape. Is because they corrupted themselves on all the avenues. All right, and that's what's going on. All right, they have no way spiritually out because they elevated themselves above God. And even though maybe a few did it, many of them were on that bandwagon, started looking at it. Yeah, you know what? Yeah, that's right. I can see it. I can see how at one point the male and female came from us. That don't even make sense, right? But they're listening to dudes that just got out of prison from that and was taught that in prison, thinking that they were enlightened by criminals who used them as foot soldiers to bring in bead money. Oh, and these dudes are loyal to these teachers. All right. So on the spiritual thing, they're through. Anytime you make yourself the most high, you're kind of going to be through. All right. On the emotional level, they have no balance. It's because the balance is usually a good man, but they don't need no man. So in not choosing a good man, they allow all the rest of these things to come in on them. But the psychologists, the psychiatrists, they're not going to tell them this. Ain't no money in it. Everybody know, and it doesn't take a degree. This is human nature. We're supposed to be together. A man is supposed to have a woman. A woman should have a man. It makes things easier for the both of them. I recognize that in all that I do. Right? I keep wondering. I wonder if Mimi would have just, instead of wanting me to stay there, went on ahead and got that visa and visited me here. She could have been coming up here with Selmina and Francisco. She could have been coming back and forth with me. She was happy with me, but it wasn't enough because her church wanted me to be there and be a part of her church. That's the thing. That's the Pentecostal. And her churchness was more important than a man. So I told her she could marry Jesus. Hope he shows up soon. And I told her it in Portuguese. See, I'm not having it from anybody. Right? And so it's the first thing they want us to give up to be with them, but they don't want to give up anything. And all the stuff they refuse to give up is now turning in on them. And what they can they do about it? I don't know. I can't see that they can do anything about it. Because no one can help them. Because they abandoned what they really needed in nature, thinking it was a good idea. And lo and behold, that turned out to not be a good idea. All right? I was serious. I mean, here's the thing, and this is how I am. All right, if I'm good to you, right, If I'm good to you, you make me happy, I make you happy, right? One of the complaints she said she had was she don't understand me. I asked her to read the Old Testament. Instead of reading that, she was busy praying over me at night on her knees. And I was like, I woke up one night with her hand rubbing all down my head. And I was like, no, That was the night I was really through. Okay? And the reason for that is this. If I'm a spiritual person and that's why you got with me, then you should follow my spirituality. All right? If you got with me because I was a good person, I made you happy, then that should have been enough. If you got with me because you know I can take care of you, then that should have been enough. But it wasn't. Because even having everything, the church was telling her she should still want more. And now she has nothing. And she's going through the same stuff as these VAWs are in the United States. All right? So, in all of that, let me say this. Um, Brothers, if you'd like to help me in what I still go back to Brazil and I still go to the places and do what I do because that's just where my heart is. It's the children we got to worry about. Adults have lived their life. So we help out the children here. All right? Like, share, subscribe my videos when you run across them. Hashtag them too. All right? Hashtag them too. If you want to help me in what I do, my donation links will be in the description box, along with a lot of these things that I've shown you. They'll be in the description box if they're not there already. All right. Here's the thing. I love me something crazy. I ain't even gonna lie. I ain't gonna sit here like, man, it was just one of them. I love Mimi something crazy. That's why I was good to her the way I was. That's what love is, right? But at the same time, I did not despise myself, right? I knew who I stood for. I knew what I stood for. And so the trick is this. The trick is this. I loved her, but I realized she did not love me. See, that's the thing. All the women that I love them, but I left them alone because I realized they did not love me. Again, brothers, that's how you do this. Right? When I love a woman, I'm gonna love a woman. Right? What is you? To the bang. Okay? When I love a woman, I'm going to love a woman. But when I realize she doesn't love me, then I know the relationship is going to be fruitless. I don't force a woman to love or even like me. All I want to do is make sure I understand whether or not she loves or like me. Right? If all you want in a relationship is to make me do what you want me to do, then you don't love me. You don't love my position as a man. So what good are you going to be for me, and what good is the relationship going to be? That's what you have to figure out. I tell the women all the time what they have to figure out, but they don't listen. To the brothers, that's what you have to figure out. If the woman loves you, she will respect you. If she don't respect you, then she don't love you. Period. If a woman loves you, then she will understand your purpose. And she will not expect anything that is above your purpose. In other words, she wouldn't expect you having the purpose of an Afro man to then cave your purpose in to being what the Caucasian man is. They don't love you then. Period. This is something we've been known. That the melanated in the United States do not love the good Afro man. All right? It isn't that we didn't love them. We did. We would sacrifice for them. We would serve for them. We built ourselves up to have something for them. Right? They just didn't want it because they did not love us back. So that's their problem. As we leave the plantation. So when they looking at people like Kobe Bryant's wife and all mad because she decided to love a man and respect him for who he is, that's on them. They should have developed that same kind of love for the Afro man, but they didn't. All right, Charlie Brown, that crash is happening already. A lot of the women in Brazil are going through exactly what these BAWs are going through here for almost the exact same reason. They bought too much into the American lifestyle. Now it's biting them in the butt too. All right. So with that said, people, I'm out. Please like, share, and subscribe. When you subscribe, click the notification bell. And if you care to donate, my donation links will be in the description box, along with the links to a lot of the information we went over. If you want the Willie Lynch paper, my email address is also in the description box. Some of the brothers have already taken advantage of that. And basically, well, that's that. All right. So peace, love, and soul. I'm out. I'll holler at y'all later. Thanks for showing up tonight.